They were singing Family Reunion at a block party. Then gunmen opened What You Need to Know to start the day. The 56th annual Old Timers Day in Brooklyn was winding down on Saturday, and the final R&B band of the night was leading the crowd in a rousing rendition of Family Reunion by the O'Jays. The beloved, days-long community event in Brownsville was drawing to a close under a clear summer sky. Then gunshots rang out, sending thousands running for cover. At least 2 gunmen had opened fire, killing a 38-year-old man and wounding 11 people in the crossfire, the police said. It was pandemonium, said Bill Blount, 42, who took cover against a wall with his 5-year-old daughter, London. She was crying. The police were investigating whether the shooting was linked to a gang dispute, but had made no arrests by Sunday evening. The man who was killed, Jason Pagan, was after serving about 2 years in prison. The police believe the shooting shattered a long-held peace at an event that had endured without violence since its inception in 1963, officials said. Mayor Bill de Blasio, in a news conference on Sunday morning at the scene, lamented the violence at a gathering that had long been an example of everything good about Brownsville. Latrice M. Walker, a native of Brownsville who represents the neighborhood in the state assembly, said the shooting broke a code, an unspoken pact to avoid violence at the event, which she said symbolizes the predominantly black neighborhood's resilience. Growing up is an anomaly in our neighborhoods, she said. And so for the shooting, she continued, has shocked our community to its core. The violence one of at least 2 deadly gun battles over the weekend in New York quickly eclipsed what was becoming a success story in Brownsville, a neighborhood scarred by decades of official neglect, deep poverty, and street violence. In the neighborhood, more than 100 police officers were on duty at the party when the shots were fired minutes before 11 p.m. near the intersection of Christopher and Heedman Avenues, where about 2,000 people had gathered in, and near the Brownsville Recreation Center, at the edge of a playground, the police said. Mr. Pagan was shot in the head as he was waiting for an Uber, according to the police and Ms. Walker. He was the second of Mr. Pagan's death was a painful turn of events on an already somber occasion for Ms. Walker. Her 19-year-old brother was shot and killed 32 years ago to the day on Saturday, a murder that left his 11-month-old twin sons without a father, she said. I am hurt, Ms. Walker said. I am mourning. The police did not say whether any of the victims, 7 men and 5 women who ranged in age from 21 to 55 years old, had been the targets of the gunfire, or if the gunman had indiscriminately strafed the crowd with bullets. We thought it was firecrackers, said Reuben King, 78, who uses a walker and was making his way toward home. Next thing you know, Alika M. Samuel, who represents the neighborhood on the New York City Council, said an aide grabbed her and ran with her to a car for cover. The gunman, a 55-year-old man, was in critical condition on Sunday at an area hospital, and police officials said he was fighting for his life. Other victims remain. The police commissioner, James P. O'Neill, asked people who had been at the playground to send any videos from before, during or after the shooting. Please, a gun was found at the scene, the police said, but investigators had not determined if it was used in the shooting. Videos circulating online after the mayhem show the police trying to gain control of a chaotic and sprawling crime scene full of residents and strewn with food containers, bottles, chairs, and tables. The bloodshed turned, and it disrupted what in many New York City neighborhoods is an annual summer ritual. Even in some of the event draws people back to Brownsville from as far away as Maryland and the Carolinas, residents said. One victim, he told Ms. Walker at the hospital that he had helped to serve fish at the annual Friday Night Fry, which was part of the festivities, she said. The number of shootings in Brownsville has declined from last year, through July 21, the most recent available. This decrease Brownsville drew renewed attention last week after video surfaced of a man there pouring a pail of water over a police officer's head. The video was one of Eric Adams, the Brooklyn borough president, said Saturday night's shooting stemmed from the city's failure to support anti-violence programs that work in crevices of the city where violence remains stubbornly high. He called for more. The city spends $36 million on its cure violence programs, but Mr. Adams said that is barely half of what is needed. Additionally, Mr. de Blasio, at the news conference, vowed to increase funding and interagency support for cure violence programs, and he described the goal of getting guns off the streets as our most essential mission. Some of the anti-violence programs still encounter opposition from hospitals and city agencies, but resistance is most acute from the police, said Mr. Adams, a retired New York Police Department captain and the co-founder of 100 Blacks in Law Enforcement Who Care. Mr. de Blasio has embraced a neighborhood policing program designed by Mr. O'Neill, and the two frequently speak of crime fighting as a two-way process that requires the police and civilians to work together. But Mr. Adams, those terms about community and police coming together, those are bumper stickers and slogans, he said, adding it is not a reality in all communities.